Hey guys, I'm the Dimension Jumper. Today I'll be doing my top 5 Zelda games that I would like to see remade. Now, Zelda games are quite fun, I would say, when it comes to playability, and I would say as the years go on and we get more and more Nintendo consoles, like we recently have had the Switch 2 released a few weeks ago, and yeah, and it would be cool to see old Zelda games being brought over to newer consoles like the Switch 2 and maybe getting remakes. And we have had some remakes ever since I believe the 3DS roughly, because we've had like Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D, and then we've had like a lot more HD or remake type Zelda games, and this would be basically similar to like this would be the kind of like games in which I would like to see get the remake treatment, and yeah, that's what I like to see. Or be talking about in this video. So yeah, for number 5 is the Oracle games. Now these games are kind of a package deal because you can't have one without the other because they kind of have an intertwining plot, and it'll be cool. It'll be quite cool to see them being remade. If they do have a potential remake, I would say that these games would have the Link's Awakening treatment, in that with the Link's Awakening remake, you had like these small chibi versions of all the characters, and if they do the Oracle games, they could go down a similar path when it comes to those remakes. And yeah, it'd be really cool to see how they're remade and how much improvement that they've been brought to. And yeah, but I think the Ogre games will be a really cool, but will be really cool to see being remade. So yeah, for number 4 is Four Swords. And I guess you can also add in Four Swords Adventures as well, maybe. But I think Nintendo could remake Four Swords first, and then later down the line make Four Swords Adventures as well. But I'm mainly just going to be sticking to Four Swords. And with this, I think this could be a really cool way of well, not cool, but like an interesting game to remake, because they could potentially remake it in the style of the Wind Waker, maybe. But I think that process will probably take too long when it comes to Four Swords. Maybe I'm not 100% sure, but maybe keep the whole Four Swords Minish Cap graphics, but update it a bit, maybe. I don't know. And also I think because this game has multiplayer functions, maybe this game could take two routes, or maybe one main route, that being the Mario 3D World Switch route, in the sense that you can play with 4 local players, and you can play with 4 online players. So you and 3 other friends, maybe. And that could be a really cool way of doing the whole multiplayer thing. It could be something similar to, can't believe I'm saying this, but the Triforce Heroes, because that game is not the best Zelda game, but it still has that whole thing of you play with 2 other people, and you can also play by yourself as well. And that could be something they could do with Four Swords, but more with like local player and online player base, maybe something like that when it comes to remaking Four Swords. So yeah, for number 3 is the original Zelda game. Now I think this game, out of all the other games, and maybe apart from the first, or the game that's at the number 1 spot, probably the first Zelda game probably deserves the remake treatment a lot, because it's the very first Zelda game. I don't think Nintendo would miss the opportunity to try and remake the first Zelda game, especially with the Switch 2 being recently released. I feel like they could at least try and do a remake for the Zelda game, for the first Zelda game, and release it for the Switch 2, maybe. and it could go in the same way as like if they do remake the Oracle games into a sort of Link's Awakening remake, that they could do the same thing for the first Zelda game when it comes to remaking that one. Either that, or they could go in a different direction in terms of how they remake the first Zelda game graphically. And yeah, I think remaking the first Zelda game would I think they'll sell a lot if they do something like that, and they could try and give it some more a bit. They could try and update it a bit in terms of how you do progression and stuff, because the very first Zelda game is very simple. You just like progress to all the different dungeons there are secrets about, but they could do some updates, but I highly doubt it. Maybe I think if we ever do see the traces of a remake for the first Zelda game, I think we have to see whether or not there's like any life or changes to it. So yeah, for number two is Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. Now I think this is sort of similar to the Oracle games, in which both Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks are a bit of a package deal because they were both released for the DS, and I believe that it'll be cool to see them both being remade and launched on in the same sort of thing, kind of like how you can play the Mario 3D All Stars pack game, but you can choose either from Mario Galaxy 1, Mario 64, or Mario Sunshine. So you could do something similar with that with both Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. And now that the Switch 2 has the mouse controls, I think remaking both Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks would be really cool to see, and maybe those two games could really benefit from the whole not Phantom Hourglass, the Wind Waker designs. And so, well, they are based off the Wind Waker designs, but in terms of how the Wind Waker is presented, that's what I'm trying to get at. So, yeah. And for number one is Zelda 2. Now, this game, I feel like similar to the first Zelda game getting a remake, I think Zelda 2 could benefit from a remake, maybe, because this is considered the black sheep of the Zelda series. Not a lot of people talk about it a whole lot, and yeah, I feel like Zelda 2 could potentially get a potential remake, and you could try and similar to the first Zelda game, you could try to update it a bit if it ever got a remake. So, for example, because it's all got like RPG elements, maybe you could do like have like certain buttons being put onto different spells and attacks. I think you can do that in the original version, or if you just play the game. But it'd be something cool to see, like how you translate an RPG or a game like Zelda 2 that was released back in the 80s, like the late 80s or so, and remake it for today. So if we ever do see a potential Zelda 2 remake, it'll be cool to see how it, one, runs, two, how it looks like in terms of the graphics, its design, how you traverse, that sort of thing, and how you can do the combat and stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be really cool and interesting to see Zelda 2 getting some sort of potential remake. So yeah, so that's been my top 5 Zelda games I would like to see get remakes. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.